What's up, everybody? We're live. Thanks, everyone, for joining. We are broadcasting on Facebook, on the This Week in Real Estate Facebook page. We're broadcasting on YouTube, on the This Week in Real Estate YouTube page. And we're broadcasting over on Instagram, on my Instagram page. So it's Ray Zorback, RAYZORBACK. And of course, we're also broadcasting live in Clubhouse. So thanks to everyone in Clubhouse for joining us. We've got Scap, Matt, Cindy, Mia. They're up so far. If you want to add your voice to the podcast, all you have to do is raise your hand in Clubhouse and we'll add you as a speaker, just like what we did for Mike. But be sure your mic is muted when you come up here. Actually, who do I hear? Oh, I hear Mia. What's up, Mia? So thanks, everyone, for joining us. We have a lot to talk about today. We are going to watch together the new Realtor marketing videos. Now, this is on the heels, not on the heels, it'd be on the cusp, on the toes. No one says on the toes. This is on the toes of me headed to the National Association of Realtors next week. I'll be in Chicago on March 4th. On March 3rd, I'll be there for the Further Together conference in Chicago. So if you're going to that, let me know. I'd love to meet you there. I can also send you an invite if you're in that area and you want to go see some awesome speakers. I'm going to be talking about AI, custom chat bots, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But I can't wait to see all of you there. But then on the 4th, I'll be at the National Association of Realtors headquarters. And I am sure one of the things that we are going to be talking about is the marketing. So I want to take your feedback on the new marketing campaign straight to NAR. So if you're not watching, if you're listening on audio only, if you're one of the thousands of podcast listeners, actually, hey guys, thanks for tuning in. You might want to go check out the video stream this week, because I'm going to be showing and talking about the National Association of Realtors commercials. And if you're over on Clubhouse, I've got the link pinned at the top of the chat. What's up, Olivier? Always like my silver medal friends in the chat.
Oh, too soon. Hello.
What's up, my friend? I mean, it was a good game. It was a good game. Great game. Both men and women's teams were super impressive. It was really cool to watch. So for us, once every 46 years, that's the let us have the win. I'm not shocked at how political everybody's made that whole thing, but it's pretty eye-opening. You can't just enjoy a game anymore. You have to have some kind of side on politics. Can't even watch the Super Bowl anymore without politics. Okay, I want to jump right into the new Realtor marketing. Realtor marketing on our show has been a point of contention, I guess you could say. Ever since they launched the 3D Realtor logo, that cost literally millions of dollars. We covered that on the show when they did it. Do y'all remember the 3D? I'm going to look this 3D Realtor logo. And we all made fun of the 3D R. Oh, here it is. It's still out on the internet. National Association of Realtors unveils new logo. All right, I got to share this part of my screen. This is hilarious. Oh, let's add to stage. There it is. Actually, StreamYard changed my normal views, so I don't have my custom views right now. I'll have to make fetch happen here. Let me see. Hang on. That's too small of an article. And this is, hang on, bear with me. I guess we'll do it like this today. Sorry, guys. StreamYard is, you have custom scenes, and for some reason all my custom scenes on StreamYard are now just a generic, it's this. It's just that. That's useless. Anyway, all right, here it is. This was the new logo design that NAR spent millions of dollars on and basically sent people into a tizzy. And I really think this was April 12th, 2018. I really think this was a point where a lot of people started questioning their affiliation with NAR, to be honest. I can't remember a time before this that NAR was in such a spotlight of discontent for real estate agents. Can y'all remember anything before this? I can remember like little things like, oh my gosh, they're making us do this or that thing for the code of ethics and it's stupid. And, you know, there were like small things here and there. But when this happened, this was big. And I think it really set them off on the wrong foot for years to come. And then, of course, they did a series of ads. You remember the series of ads where the real estate agents were normal and the people they were helping were super weird? Do you remember those? And they would, yeah, see, Rick remembers, he said, did that cost $5 million? Yes, it costs like $5 million. It was $4 or $5 million, if I remember right. Mike says, why didn't they just make it the shape of a house? Phenomenal idea. There were a lot of people that took the 3D logo after they released it and started re-releasing versions of the 3D logo. One was a cereal box. You know, it was pretty funny. The redesigns of the logo were quite humorous. So I really think that put them off on a bad footing with real estate agents. And then it seemed like every effort after that was just bad. Here is, they tried to do some funny or humorous ones. They tried to do, I'm trying to find the ones where, like, you remember where the guy steps into the shower? Let me see if I can find it here. There was one where, no, they've tried funny ones and stuff like that in the past. They just did not click. So they have new ads, and I want to play them for you guys and get your thoughts on it. And try to keep an open mind. This is where, if you're listening on the audio stream, that you would tune into a video stream now. Wait, I have to share screen. Share this tab instead. And kablooey. All right. Yeah, guy steps in the shower. Yeah, y'all remember that where there was a buyer that like got into the shower to test the water and he was fully clothed or something like that. It was interesting. And then somebody else was like listening to the wood on the floor. Do you remember that where the real estate agent had their ear on the floor? Yeah. Okay. So this is their new ones. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Hang on. I did not share the screen with audio. We're going to need the audio today. All right. Share audio. Here we are. There we are. Now it's changed me again. Why are y'all doing this? Hang on. Boom. All right. We'll just leave it right here. All right, here we go. Let me know what you think. Honest opinions. Y'all could talk while the video's running, but I'm going to play it in full without interruption. It's only 30 seconds. So we're going to play it in full without interruption and then go back and, yeah, so don't copy strike me, NAR, because I am going to play it in full without interruption. Here we go.
This is the one.
What about adding an addition?
We need to check the zoning. Plans? I added a contingency. Upgrade needed? Mm-hmm. Property line ends here. Closing's back on. Let's sign.
So there you go. They bring you home is what it says at the end. But for the audio listeners that just refuse to watch the video version of this, it's a real estate agent with their clients. The guy says, this is the one. He says, what about an addition? She opens like a door under the stairs and there's a guy in there with architecture plans. She takes that. And then it has good transitions going out from that into her walking down and up some stairs at the city, getting it approved, Then she checks the survey lines. She opens another hatch, and there's a electrician down there with, eating a sandwich, but he has wires all over. Matt Boulevard said, look, it's not the worst ever. Hillary says, I like that they showed a lot of what we do behind the scenes. Scap the appraiser said she totally forgot about the massive appraisal issue she will have. No, she didn't, Scap. She's cute. She doesn't have those appraisal issues, She just shows up and lets the appraiser in. Everyone knows that works on appraisers, Scap. Matt says, I've seen some bad ads. It's fast-paced, not some sappy crap, is what Hillary says. All right. What do you guys think? For those of you who, well, I don't know if everyone in Clubhouse could see it, but Hillary says, maybe that'll be the next commercial, Scap, dealing with the appraisal issues. Well, there's a series of these. I'm glad you said next commercial. Let me go to another view. Oh, Kimberly is over on Instagram. What's up, Kimberly? Realtor _ Kimberly _ man with 2 N's. She said a child could have created that. That's what my dues are paid for. Oh, wait, you were talking about the 3D thing at that time. Okay, wait, hang on. I'm catching up. I'm catching up with your combo. Realtor. So when I was talking about the realtor stepping into the shower and listening to the wood, Kimberly says, I never saw that, but I'd been questioning it for most of my career. I'm guessing they're pretty bad if you're telling us to keep it up in mind. Okay, so Realtor said, bizarre and confusing. I don't think the public will connect with it. Boomtown Brokerage said, needs to be more sappy. They want more sappy. All right, Matt,
So,
what do you think about it, man?
I mean, I always ask these questions of like any advertising, right? No matter what it is. Mostly because I like marketing. I like the sales process, And I think Hillary's right. I think it shows a lot of our value behind the scenes. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not calling my buyers or my sellers every step of the way and saying, hey, by the way, the inspector just got there. And then, hey, the inspector's leaving and here's what they found, every single thing. And I'm trying to slow down the process a little bit this year and explain what's going on, especially for the first-time home buyers. I'm arguably not the best first-time home buyer agent representative, that's for sure. I'm still learning how to better communicate and articulate my value to first-time home buyers. But as a whole, I mean, is it memorable? Yes. Like you said, it's fast-paced things, which is actually a really important thing, especially in ads. If it's slower and sappier and everything else, like you might remember it. I like the fast-paced nature to it because it does. That's how real estate feels sometimes. It feels like you're running from one thing to the other thing and meeting with people and, there's a lot moving. There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Even though, we're not constantly on the phone with our clients. So, but was it memorable? That's the question that I can't really answer. I think the fast-paced nature was great, and that part is memorable. But at the end of the day, if you ask me what company is this, or what are they selling, or what are they positioning, it's going to be hard to remember that, it's a real estate thing necessarily. So that's where it kind of loses me a little bit. But I'm also trying to remain somewhat unbiased, which is obviously a challenge for me.
It's hard to be unbiased because we are so jaded by the past. For those of us that have been around a while, I would love to hear like what a brand new agent that has never seen any of these, none of the previous ads, none of the previous marketing attempts from NAR. I would love to hear what they think about this. Kimberly said it's not memorable. Fast or slow, doesn't matter. Connection does. All right, let's take a look at the next one. You'll kind of see a reoccurring theme, but again, keep an open mind and I'm going to play the whole thing uninterrupted, and then we'll go back, and they have 15-second versions of this as well. Hillary said, yeah, showing up in that Porsche definitely screams first-time buyer agent. Yeah, for real. Nice try, Matt. Nice try. All right, here's the next ad.
I love it.
Let's double check the requirements. How's airflow? I've got a contact for that exhaust. Can the panel handle the extra load? Signage approved? Ready to sign?
Ready.
Congratulations! Mom.
Try to beep up.
So that was pretty good. It's same type of VAT, fast pace. If you like the fast paced stuff, this is kind of what it is. Realtor Kimberly Mann says, I'd love to hear what a member of the public thinks more than an agent. Yeah, that's true. That is who they're advertising for. Well, they're advertising for agents. They're advertising to the consumer. Let's look at another one. There are 15-second versions of these as well, and I think there's a couple of them that are only 15 seconds. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So these next two, wait, hang on. Yeah, I only see 15-second versions of the next three, actually. So there's a recut, actually the next four. So there's a recut. Let me share this screen. I'm sorry. Oh, I am sharing the screen. I'm just on the wrong layout. All right. So there's a 15-second, 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 15-second version. Two of these are only 15-second. So let's take, Rick says, are commercial brokers realtors? Yeah, you could be a commercial realtor. It's CCIM, but yeah, you can be a commercial realtor. They have designations. All right, here's another one.
Water's running smoothly. The training's slowly. Let's check with the inspector.
They'll need a plumber.
Yeah, it's clogged.
See my scope video.
My sellers don't want the hassle of the repair.
They'll give you a credit for the repair.
Did we get the tiki bar?
In writing.
So that's cute.
Water's
they don't really care about the water repair. They want the tiki bar. And we've all been there. So basically that's a real estate agent checking. What I thought was interesting is it does cover something that we see every day where we have a repair issue and the seller's like, I don't want to deal with that. I'll give you money. Rick said too much in 15 seconds. Now remember, these are going to be played. Well, we're going to talk about the strategy behind them as soon as we kind of analyze the ads. Let's watch the other one. And then it's just recuts of the first two that we saw that are 15-second versions. So this is the other one.
Can we still close on time?
Oh, I know a lender who can help. Will it clear on schedule? Great. Ready?
I mean, that's not bad either.
Can we still close?
So let's talk a little bit. Hillary said, I agree. But here's what I'm hearing. I'm not hearing a lot of Olivier said they're all a bit beige. I'm not hearing a overwhelming disapproval. And I have to say, that's a heck of a lot of progress. You guys aren't overwhelmingly saying, oh my gosh, that's so bad. I would never show that to my clients, which we've previously said of their ads. I think they even took down, I'm trying to look for the weird, awkward realtor ads, and I can't find them. If somebody's got a link it up. I'd love to relive that history with you guys.
Hey, Ray.
Yeah.
It's Harry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's
I'm
up?
in my car. Where are these going to be played? Because I looked at them yesterday, and I thought they were dumb. I thought they were good from an agent point of view, that it actually shows we do something behind the scenes that the client might not see. But where are they going to show these, and what is the client going to think of them? Because it doesn't really answer the question. It doesn't really, I guess I don't know what I'm looking for. This is a step up for NAR, but I feel like we got another step up to go. I'm not sure how this is going to be client facing and what they're going to think of it. and where it's
Yeah.
going to be that they're going to see it.
Okay, so two things. Whenever I watch these videos with just kind of putting it on, and I'll let some of these run in the background too while I talk about them. I watch them through the lens, of course, of everything that's happened in the past and all the trouble that we've been through in the past with ads and, who are they targeting and what is the real audience and all this other stuff. And I remembered watching these and ads like this with a bit of disdain, saying things like, that's not me. I'm not that agent. I would never be that agent. And the only part of this that I felt was misrepresenting agents is a little bit of the reliance on what we say. So, at the end of all these videos, the realtor has it figured out and then the buyer signs off on it. And that's a little too heroic for our position. I mean, it's a little too, you're exposing yourselves to a lot of risk if you actually operate that way, but that doesn't really matter for the ad. That's a legal compliance issue and not this is a television ad issue. For instance, when the lady's like, I've got a lender. No, we all know you give 3 lenders.
Right.
So
in the timeline,
well,
like the timeline of I can put my head through a door and, now I've got the plumber and now I've got
that's my
guy.
point. That's my point,
That's
Terry.
not realistic.
But you're speaking to my point. It's a television ad. Everyone knows it's a television ad. And in the television ad, you don't accentuate all the bad parts. We won an award in a magazine and I was writing about the award and I was going to use similar version. We also won it last year and the year before. So I was going to use like a similar version of the text that we use. And the text that we previously used was thanking our clients because they're the one that nominated us. And in the text, it said, to the, late night negotiating phone calls, to you guys keeping your house clean and making it available for us. I was basically thanking the client for everything that they did to help move along the transaction and help us too as agents, and basically saying, hey, this award's not just ours, it's yours too. So anytime we win an award or whatever, we try to approach it with an attitude of gratitude. Well, this year, the photo we wanted to use was one of us having a party. And the theme was, we're celebrating because of you, our clients. And, we believe we've created a better version to buy and sell that feels like a party. And, we have fun doing it. And then, so I kind of wrote the first part and then it said, so thank you for all your like long nights and hard work. And I'm like, whoa, that does not sound like a party. So I had to change the verbiage a little bit, to reflect the party aspect of the process and not the trouble. And that's the same thing they're doing here. They're not going to show you every second of what a transaction looks like because that defeats the purpose of the ad. They're trying to show you in fast clips what real estate agents do and show you as many as possible, as fast as possible. And the ad style is extremely popular for social media campaigns, for web advertising, for not normal TV. So I was encouraged to hear that when they are running these ads, they're not putting them on anything they can't measure. They're putting them on Netflix. They're putting them on streaming, and they're looking for click-throughs. And they drilled down their target. They did a lot of research and used analytics and AI and all this jazz to drill down their target, their specific audience person, to someone that is thinking about buying or selling. They have not necessarily been approved, and they have not selected an agent yet. That's their target. They want to get to the person right as they're thinking about it, right before they're making the decision who to use. And then they want to promote a realtor. And I thought these ads did a pretty good job of that. you can't show all the legal compliance. You can't show, hey, I'm going to give you 3 lenders due to RESPA, because that's not entertaining. And because that's not entertaining, it would not work as an ad. But having a real estate agent open one door and go through the next, is this not what our day feels like constantly? Like, you guys that are saying, oh, it's too fast, it's too much. Do you not feel like this is your day? Because I do. Yesterday specifically, I could not catch a break. And I was like, man, I'm just running from one thing to the next. And then I saw this ad. I was like, yeah, that's what it feels like to me. So I think it's interesting that it shows consumers perhaps just kind of the fast-paced version of what we do and who we are. It's different than the funny ones they've done in the past. It's different than the ones that are weird that they've tried in the past. And I think for the first time, this ad puts us in a good light, and it puts our clients in a good light. It doesn't make the client feel helpless or look helpless. It doesn't make the client look dumb or stupid. It makes the client, like, look at this image right here. You have the lady like looking over the paperwork and the guy leaning over and talking to the real estate agent. We've all been in this exact pose. And the clients are smart. They're asking good questions. The realtors are answering those questions. So I have very little kerfuffle with these ads, surprisingly. And I was really prepared to totally dog them, honestly, because they've not done good in the past. But of all the ads they've ever done, I think this one is the best. This series. I would like to see them do more, actually. Almost all of these are kind of in the city. You have one that's commercial, a gigantic portion of like this, for instance, this pipe on the outside. You would never see that in Arkansas ever. So I would love to see them have more that are maybe related to the middle of the country. There's all kinds of funny scenarios where if you want to check the dock with the Army Corps of Engineers and a scuba diver comes up with the Army Corps and gives you a thumbs up that you could put a dock there. So I think there's a bunch of expansions that they could do for this that's relevant to a lot of different agents in a lot of different places in the country. And I think it's an ad campaign that they could get a lot of traction on because of how they're using it. So I'm a pretty big supporter of this one, actually. Let me get to some of your comments. Rick said they're attempting to push back on those who say we're going to be replaced by AI. Yeah. Septic for the rural ads. Yeah. They did a funny-ish one in the past that was more rural, but I thought it was a little bit disrespectful to the clients and also to the realtor. Over on Instagram, a super cheesy ad is at least memorable. I prefer the Phil Dunphy to any of this. Yeah, the philosophies. Those were funny, but I don't really think they promoted us. I think it was just funny. Kimberly Man says, this is nothing like my day. No Porsches. That's more like Matt Lamar should say. No, this is, going from thing to thing and negotiating contracts. And, that is a lot like my day. So the Realtor brand, your hard work on display, that was their goal. The more than opening doors is the name of the campaign. Part of the quote, right by you strategy introduced in 2025 that demonstrates the value of professional guidance and expertise. Some of you said you want sappy. 11 months ago, they did sappy. They did a couple of sappy ads that were more like the ones from Rocket and all that. I like the sappy ad, but I only like it once. I will watch the sappy ad one time. These heroic ads that are fast paced and has people moving through and has really good camera transitions and all that, I like them. Spot 1 is called the one. Spot 2 is called the closing. Spot 3 is called negotiation. Spot 4 is arcade. So there's 4 spots. I am curious how much it cost. Probably I'm gonna ballpark $60 million including the ad buy. So we'll see how it works. Now, let's talk about audience and philosophy. A lot of you said this is not really for the right audience. You are the audience. So I know they're wanting to use these for consumers, but they also want to make real estate agents happy. And if you've read or are a fan of the book, see if I have it. Nope. Building a Story Brand, then you can recognize what they're doing here. In building a story brand, you make your client the hero. In a way, you could say they've done that because the consumer is kind of directing the steps of the realtor and using a real estate agent, so that consumer is a hero for doing that and making that choice. But that's not really explicitly shared. What it looks like in the ads is that they've made realtors the hero. And that's a good ad for realtors. That targets whoever you're making the hero in the ad is your target market, is your target audience. So real estate agents, if you're out there now and you're thinking about making an ad or doing a campaign, and you want to be the one, for instance, like those, was it a gum commercial or a Dollar Shave Club commercial where the guy's like walking through the warehouse and all this cool stuff's happening and he's like unaffected by it, kind of making that guy the hero, then your consumers are not the hero. So you're just advertising yourself and really building yourself up, and you're your target audience. If your target audience is the consumer, then you have to find a way through the marketing to make them the hero. So that's why in all of our, whenever we win an award or buy an ad or something like that, we're always thinking, our consumer's the hero. Thank you for helping us achieve this. Whenever we use one of our social proofs, like somebody is celebrating one of the agents because they did a really good job, because we're the most reviewed 5-star team in Central Arkansas. So we could just say that, and that sounds real heroic of us. But what we love to do is share the story of our client and make them the hero, and talk about how they did an incredible job following our system for getting their home ready for sale. They did an amazing job using our guidance for how to negotiate the offer. So we're the tool, we're the guide, we're the Yoda, they're the Skywalker. For these ads, the realtor's the Skywalker. The realtor is, the realtor is a Skywalker. Whoever you're making Skywalker in your ad, that's your audience. So it's no surprise to me that after years of failure and huge amount of discontent with agents not respecting, not liking, actually hating in some cases, the marketing the NAR's done in the past, that now they're coming out with an ad that makes agents the hero, because that's who they're marketing to. They're trying to win us back over. And I think you can do this in an angle that does make the client feel heroic. But I like the ad. It's going to work for a lot of people. And I think it's one of the best ones. I think it is the best one. Let me say this. I think it is the best ones they've done since I've been a real estate agent. And if you disagree, drop your favorite realtor ad in the comments and I'll play it if I'm still live. But most of you don't remember the previous ads anyway, except for the philosophies or the weird ones that I remember for all the wrong reasons.
Well, but that also says something about those ads, doesn't it? If we can't remember them, or they weren't funny or engaging, unless we just weren't the audience or we weren't the hero.
Weren't some of them with Reba?
Reba?
Reba McEntire.
I don't remember those.
Well, then those were Realtor.com then. I think
Yeah.
they were Realtor.com, but there was nothing there that helped us either. So where are these being placed?
Yeah, those are Realtor.com ads. So they're being placed on Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, Google, Facebook. They're using social media campaigns. They're not going to put them just on TV because they want to be able to measure everything. And nobody watches TV anyway. So I think there is an amount that they're going to be advertising out of home, which means that they're the ads on billboards and stuff like that. But it's a very small spend there. Most of the spend is going to be on basically online ads of streaming ads. So I actually think that's really, really smart. I would like to see some on live television, like, ESPN, like network television, not just the ESPN app, because, if you're going to watch sports, a lot of people watch sports live and you can't really skip the commercial. So I think that would be smart. But they have a percentage that they're going to spend on old school, but most of the spend is going to be on all the new stuff that they can measure and see what's working. And as an advertiser, I know that they're going to get way more views. For $200, I can put an ad out locally that gets way more views than a $5,000 television ad run for a month in my market. So, if they're taking an online strategy, I think it's going to be a lot better. Kimberly does not like the Reba ones. But this is what I'm saying. Like, there's no overwhelming disdain for these. And so I think a lot of us are trying to be critical. I think honestly, when you watch them with a pretty open mind, they're pretty good. The only things, like I said, I saw that weren't realistic was, compliance stuff and exposure to risk stuff, but these are not realistic. She's opening a door and going into a new place. So you can suspend the disbelief and just watch it and enjoy it as, a magical, imaginary show. All right. That's my 2 cents on the new ads. Way more than 2 cents. That was 15 minutes. No. Wow. 40 minutes on the new ads. All right. Well, there you go. You want to watch them again? No. Kimberly Mann says, I want to be an agent, not forced to be a realtor. So yes. All right. So that's the other perspective. If you're looking at this and you feel like you're forced to be a realtor, then you're going to look at this and say, ugh, that's where our dues went. Yeah, but if you can get rid of I'm tired of being forced because my MLS forcing me to be a realtor, and you can look at this for what it is. Like, if I made this ad with me walking through doing all this stuff, that ad would be badass. And people would be like, whoa, this is an amazing ad. So if you put yourself in that position and say, if you made this ad, this is, and I think they've made a pattern that without a whole lot of figuring out new things, you could do as a real estate agent in your own market in a similar style. You'd have to hire some actors or friends. But I think you could follow this pattern, follow the cadence, and create a really good ad. It's actually something that we might do in the same cinematic style that they've done. I think that would be really interesting because I could make it more relevant to the local market, and people would recognize some local places here and there. But I think it's a great pattern for an ad you can make here locally. And then you could do the little tweaks that you want to do. You could make the client a little more the hero and show that you're serving them. You're not just out there doing your own thing. Okay. What's up, Mike? All right. Any other comments before we move on to the next stuff? All right. Dropping this down. I did pull up the philosophies one. Those are funny. I'll share this one. This was the philosophies series that they did. And this one's a 30-second ad.
A slow home buyer is a no home buyer. Navigating the real estate world requires cat-like reflexes. No, that's too early. Requires cat-like reflexes. Now, cat-like. This isn't that hard, guys. When I say reflexes, what if I throw the ball back and you reverse it on film? Sexile fear Kyle tack. Run that backwards. It's cat-like reflex.
That's clever. I like it, but I also don't think it really markets us as realtors either. So now I'm repeating it myself. Hang on. There you go. So I mean, it's neat. It's funny. He's a funny actor. He's a really good actor, but
You don't have to display that. You don't have to put that.
no, I'm putting it out there.
It's fine. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, I mean, it's, all the sitcoms in history have done that. White dads are idiots. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Rick said it was a horrible waste of money. Yeah. I mean, that is one of the things I noticed about the realtor ads is like, oh, okay, I'm not represented, but that's fine. There's no just white guy. It's so that's all right. So I'm anxious to see what they say about this next week. I want to hear from Bennett. I believe Bennett's the one that kind of oversaw all this, and I'd love to hear. I know they did tons of analytics and research because I've read some about what they did. So, but yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. It's a bold move, Cotton. But again, like I said, I think it's the best that they've done so far. I'm going to see if I can edit this live real quick. Hang on, please. Nope, wrong button there. I'm trying to make myself, we're going to use this then. All right, save new layout. All right. I've got I just saved a new layout that hopefully will fix the issues that we were having there. Boom. All right. There you go. Kimberly said, I think it made us look human to other humans. Oh, you mean the Phil ad? It's not bad. I prefer these over the Phil ad. I think there's more context and it's more like who we are. Do y'all recognize that? Who we are. Okay. We'll move on. If you want to comment on those things, be sure to, you could go to Razorback. That's RAYZORBACK. If you're hating the show, I should always say this earlier. If you hate the show, subscribe and hit that bell so that you can be notified of when it goes live, and then you can hate on it live. And if you're trying to watch on Clubhouse, you can add your voice to the podcast by going to bit.ly/REN Clubhouse. That's all lowercase. bit.ly/REN Clubhouse. I made a short link for the room, and you'll see our cast there. So if you're ever like, oh, how do people get on the show? That's how they get on and call it. Okay. Here we go. Let's talk about Compass. Oh no. So Compass has been in the news a lot lately, and I've actually been supporting a lot of what Compass has done because I kind of like their stance on the private listings. When you have somebody that wants to market their home, but they don't want it on Zillow or Trulia or anywhere else, then what do? Because if you're a realtor, they're going to force you to put it online. So if you don't want that, I think Compass has a good plan to do the private listing network, and I don't really see a problem with it. So I like it. I'm a fan of that. I think it's smart to let sellers market properties how they want to market properties. That being said, there was a big merger recently. Y'all remember the big merger of Compass and Anywhere? Gigantic merger. And usually those mergers take quite a while to work themselves through the system. As a matter of fact, big mergers like this are normally put on a 30-day wait. While everyone looks at all the impact and everything that impacts this merger. Was this one put on a 30-day wait? No. Interestingly, this one was flagged for a waiting period so that more research could be done. And when it was flagged, the Compass attorneys contacted the DOJ, and after the Compass attorneys contacted the DOJ, the Attorney General Todd Blanche overruled Slater. Slater was the person that flagged it for review. And then they approved the transaction. Slater then steps down from the DOJ last week, but lawmakers letter noted that she was forced out, according to various reports. So Slater flagged it and said, hey, this Compass Anywhere deal, we need to take a harder look at. Then they were overruled by Todd Blanche, and then Slater stepped down, quote unquote, stepped down. So it does not seem like a situation that was clean. This decision raises questions about corruption under your watch and its impact on the housing affordability for American families, the letter states. Allowing this merger will make it easier for these firms to exert greater control over the real estate market, limit consumer access and choice, and ultimately exacerbate the housing crisis that has put homeownership out of reach for millions of Americans. Now, this would be wild if they unwound the merger. Can you imagine how much stuff they've already got starting to consolidate? And then the DOJ comes back and says, oh yeah, you know what? That was wrong. Let's unwind this thing and take another look at it. Everything would have to stop. And then you already have C-level executives that have stepped down. And you remember when those C-level executives, they all kind of thought it would take longer. Typically, mergers trigger a 30-day waiting period at the DOJ's antitrust division, the letter explained, which can be extended to allow for further evaluation. In this case, however, Blanche cleared the transaction without the review after Trump-aligned Compass lawyer Mike Davis made the company's case to Blanche's office. Interesting. Lawmakers also noted the Compass Anywhere transaction is not the first that they raised concern about at the DOJ, citing the Hewlett-Packard Juniper merger, which closed July 2025. So, here's the full letter. It's to Pam Bondi, or the Honorable Pamela Bondi, and it is from 11 senators. So, or representatives. Some of them may be, some of them are reps in Congress. Bernard Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Charles Schumer, Becca Ballot, I don't know, Becca Balint, Henry C. Hank Johnson Jr., Madeline Dean, Yasamin Ansari, and Jared Nadler. Oh wait, there's more. I'm not gonna read them all. Anyway, you guys can go take a look. I didn't know Jerry was Jared Nadler. So that would be crazy if Compass has to unwind. Gary Keller talks about it a little bit. Gary Keller on Compass Anywhere. I wouldn't have done it. I know some of you are like, whoa, how do you get that audio from Gary? That was my impersonation. Gary Keller couldn't care less about Compass or Anywhere or Redfin or Rocket Mortgage. He does, however, care about some Homes.com and Andy Florence, whom he truly likes and considers a heck of a competitor. Oh, he's so folksy. The Compass Anywhere merger was all over the news. It's now going under scrutiny a little bit because it was apparently the fastest approved merger of giant business in history, and they've now attracted some backroom relationships that grease the wheels, Keller said, drawing a noise from the audience of more than 10,000 KW agents at the family reunion conference. Do we care? I don't. I mean, I wouldn't have done it. I think it's more entertaining to use a different voice. Historically, hang on. Keller weighed on private listings as well, saying that the battle is interesting, though in his opinion, the consumer is always right, the buyer always is right, and the seller is always right. So no stance on that, huh? Otherwise, the only thing the Keller Williams founders mind is the current housing market. Then he talks about the market, really. So that's about all he said. And he addressed the inventory shortage and such. But I guess it's kind of surprising to me that he doesn't have a stance on the private listing network. I think it doesn't matter to him because they're going to make money either way. And maybe he's got something ready for that. So, however, the handful of years reached new territory lows, side per agent. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to read all this stuff. That's just his family reunion speech. Now, this we've been talking about for a little while. Watchdog says beef up referral fee disclosure or prepare for lawsuits. This is what we said, guys. Remember on the show, what, 2 months ago? We said that if you are taking a referral from someone or giving a referral to someone, you should disclose that to the buyer or seller. If you aren't disclosing that, there could be trouble for you in the future. A report released Tuesday by the Consumer Policy Center suggested lawsuits will follow if brokerages, real estate portals, and regulators don't step in and add transparency first. The report, written by Stephen Brobeck and Wendy Gilch, concluded that there isn't enough transparency and enforcement of existing rules around whether and when and how referral fees are being disclosed to consumers. This is what they say: before signing any agreements, buyers and sellers should receive clear disclosures, both from the referral companies and then later from agents about referral fees. Most importantly, that they are being paid by a buyer agent to a referral company. The specific amount of the fee should be disclosed. So, where's the referral fee services can specifically be harmful to buyers and sellers if fees are high, the report found. High fees reinforce commission rates, jeopardize the quality of consumer service, and are associated with deceptive practices. So see if this rings true for you. If you have to give 40 to 50% referral on somebody, do you want to take that deal? There's a lot of high-performing real estate agents that say, no. So then you have less performing real estate agents. I'm not saying you have to close $100 or 100 transactions a year, but you know, if you do have to do some level of business to have the experience. So basically what the report showed is that the higher the fee, the less quality experience you're going to get. And, or the real estate agent that you do use is going to keep fees high on you. So if you go through a service like realestateagents.com or, Dave Ramsey or Zillow or some of those others that charge the agents fees, what they're saying is it could cause those agents to maintain a high fee for you because they have to pay out on the back end. For us, we just have the same fee for everybody, but I guess some people are more fluctuate their fees more. While several larger companies, including Zillow and Realtor.com, offer a subscription service with monthly fees, all now emphasize a per sale referral fee. From the agent's perspective, they're more likely to do this because they don't have to pay out of pocket. We all know that. However, individual consumers who work with commission-based referral companies, especially buyers, also face risk and cost. The most important is a non-negotiable 3% commission rate related to the 30-40% referral fee. Why do they say non-negotiable? I don't understand that. That fee in turn jeopardizes the quality of service associated with the deceptive marketing practices. And that doesn't make sense. The high fee jeopardizes quality of service. How does what you charge jeopardize the quality of service if it's high? Maybe it's saying the high referral fee. That high referral fee, they should add the word referral there, I think. That makes sense. That high referral fee in turn jeopardizes quality of service and is associated with deceptive marketing practices. That makes sense. But just a high fee, like if you paid me 10% on a deal, golly, all the stops. I'm going to find ways to make it better for you. I'll move you. So a high fee actually improves your service. But I think it's saying the high referral fee is what jeopardizes quality. Zillow responded, and they said, this report has little to no evidence for its claims, often relying on comments posted anonymously on social media instead of verified sources. Where the authors get it right is they point to Zillow's emphasis on providing potential homebuyers with connections to high-performing agents and to the benefits of the referrals to the agents themselves. I think you should investigate that deeper. If you're on a Zillow Flex team, you could say, well, that's a high-performing agent, but you may get the brand new member of their team that is still on the teat of the Zillow leads and not generating leads themselves. So yeah, it may go to a team that's high performing, but does it go to an individual agent that's high performing? Let's see, they were talking about referrals to one agent versus multiple agents. They had a couple of experiences where they only got referred to one agent. Questions have been raised as to whether these required disclosures would also apply to referral agencies, especially Zillow, Realtor.com, and Redfin. They should be, and if state legislators or regulators do not act, the issue may be resolved by litigation. I mean, this is something that you guys could easily send to your local, and I don't know if you'd want to. I think it should be done, but this is an easy regulation that could probably get bipartisan support at your state or city level, where that is now required, and then your real estate commission could require it, and then you've handled it locally, and your area is less likely to get sued, according to the Consumer Report. And you can find that Consumer Report here. The name of it is Referral Fees Discourage Real Estate Agents from Negotiating Commissions and Acting as Fiduciaries. That's the name of the report. It's a mouthful. I'll put a link to the report in the description as well. All right, let's hit on CoStar. You know who I think should hit on CoStar? NAR. Let's buy it. CoStar continues its defensivehomes.com strategy. CoStar has created a winning formula for dominating the residential real estate market by attracting renters to its platforms, maintaining a robust list of for sale listings, and offering buyer leads to agents. In contrast to its top competitors in the space. Who is this written by? This is a puff piece. Florence addressed investors on the call late Tuesday after the company shared an earnings report. It was Florence's last chance to address questions for investors to make the case that Homes.com was on a strong path forward. He said competing U.S. real estate portals suffer from a lack of profitability and low growth, not because there's MLS in the U.S., but because they have chosen an inferior business model. In contrast to Homes.com, our U.S. competitors' primary business model is to sell lower value buyer agency leads as to a much smaller audience rather than marketing valuable homes. Well, what? Seller buyer agency leads become their primary business model. So I guess he's saying our primary business model is charging you to advertise your property. CoStar vowed to cut spending on Homes.com by over $300 million this year, more than a 35% drop. CoStar suggested it is exiting a period in which it was investing heavily into Homes.com to create the brand that will last and generate profit. So what they're saying is, we invested all this money in this company, Homes.com. And now that we've invested that money, we can take back some of the money we were investing and let it kind of do its own thing. Maybe it does kind of sound like they're pulling back though. And that's what it sounds like. Did y'all watch State of the Union? I have not yet. Trump vows to make housing affordable while keeping values up as he praises the golden age of America in the State of the Union speech. President Donald Trump reiterated his aim of making the market affordable without lowering home values. That's a trick. During the State of the Union speech, Trump's speech on Tuesday night, which lasted an hour and 47 minutes, took aim at economic issues. The president moves to reassure that he's curtailing. Low interest rates will help reduce the Biden-created housing affordability crunch, Trump said. We want to keep those values up. We're going to do both. Trump said that mortgage rates are falling fast and payments are down $5,000 since I took office. Trump's solution to the housing crisis includes I'm skipping through this. I'm not gonna. They do have the stats on there, but I'm skipping through that stuff. Trump's solution to the housing crisis includes a range of proposals to make it more attainable, and he signed over an executive order to discourage institutional investors from buying single-family homes. He added, a pillar of the American dream has been under attack. National Association of Realtors are grateful to the administration members of Congress who are focused on addressing the nation's housing and affordability and supply changes We share the goal of increasing housing inventory at all price points. So there you go. Right side of the room stood up a lot. Left side of the room didn't stand up very much. That's what happened last night. Let's see. Housing affordability is key for lawmakers. Yeah. So it's basically the same stuff. Same stuff they've been working on. This was an interesting headline, though. Democrats counter Trump's proposal to limit institutional housing investors. Immediately made me think the Democrats were like for this. So weird headline, but when you get into the meat, they just basically want to add taxes. That's it. So they agree with Trump to limit institutional housing investors. They want to add, oh darn. See, all right. Instagram disconnected the stream for some reason. Oh well. So they want to add taxes to the people that hold over 50 properties. They want to increase your taxes. So that's it. That's the whole thing. So they don't agree with him because he doesn't want to increase the taxes. So hopefully they'll still push it through. I mean, limiting institutional investors is probably better for the market. But there, I know a couple of buyers or a couple of sellers right now that would love an institutional investor to pick them up. So, pending home sales fall 6% as would-be buyers sit out in a slow winter market. Right, Jack? This is what Jack was saying, Jack Atteridge. He said that the snow is definitely kind of pushing down the market right now. U.S. pending home sales fell 5.8% from a year earlier during the 4 weeks ending February 15th. Biggest decline in a year. Would-be buyers sitting on the sidelines because it's expensive to purchase a home. Now, this article came out February 19th. That's last Thursday. All right. This article also came out February 19th. Home prices start the year up just 1% as the buyer's market keeps growth in check. So here's home prices. They rose in January. Now this is as a percent. This doesn't mean home prices are going down when you see this. It means home price gains slow. Okay. So these are still home price gains. Now here at the end of 2023, there was a little anomaly for a couple of months where home prices seemed to dip and actually go down. But other than that, but even this like negative 4%, that's taking off of this. It's up 26% in May. It would have to go down like 50% to make up for all these increases. So it's up 1.1% currently. Mortgage rates. Let's see. Wait, we're going to get to that. This is interesting. Home price cuts are growing as buyers gain more negotiating power. As home sales remain sluggish this winter, more sellers are reducing their asking price in a new home market. Home builders are leaning heavily on price cut initiatives more than any point in recent years, trying to bring more buyers to the closing table. In February, 36% of builders reported cutting prices, with an average reduction of 6%, according to the National Association of Home Builders. Another 65% offered incentives such as closing costs, mortgage rate buydowns, etc. So the pressure to price it right is on. Okay, it's a buyer's market. This is a great one to put on the green screen behind you guys and talk about. It's a buyer's market. America has 44% more home sellers than buyers, a near record gap. So there's more buyers than sellers, right? We just read an article that said home price cuts are growing. Now there's more buyers than sellers. Okay. We define a market where there are over 10% more sellers than buyers as a buyer's market. When sellers outnumber buyers, buyers typically hold the negotiating power. Here's the number of home buyers drops to the lowest level on record. We've talked about that like 2 weeks ago. Nearly 1 in 7 home sales are falling through. So this is the other thing you start to see is that because there's so much inventory on the market, when somebody goes under contract with something and they see that there's something wrong with it, the grass is always greener. So they're immediately heading over to this other option to try to buy that. So contract cancellations hit the highest January level, 13.7%. It's not the highest level. It's the highest January level. So it's high for this time of year is how they catch that. Here's mortgage rates. They just dropped below 6%. So these are the things to put on the screen behind you, right? It's a buyer's market. Home prices, home price cuts are growing. And you have a 6%, less than 6% mortgage rate, which is the lowest since 2022. The average rate on a popular 30-year fixed mortgage fell to 5.99%. While rates briefly dipped in the 5% range for a few hours in January, they bounced back the same day. It's unlikely this time around, according to Matthew Graham, Chief Operating Officer at Mortgage News Daily. This visit to the high fives looks more sustainable on paper. As long as the broader market doesn't sell off in any major way, mortgage rates stand a better chance of remaining closer to the present levels than they did the last time. All right, but wait. Mortgage rates dropped to the lowest level since 2022, handing homebuyers more purchasing power. This is the purchasing power graph, which I think I like this version better. Homebuyer power is up $30,000. Here's what that means for the market. So this is the same information that we just saw. It's just putting it in a different context. Home buying power is up 30%, $30,000. So the mortgage rates have averaged 6.96% in January. They were down to 6.1%. Yesterday, they slipped again to 5.99. So you're gaining a lot of buying power. You could previously only afford $370,000. Now you can afford $400,000. Okay, let's keep going. Mortgage rates have dipped below 6%. Here's where you may unlock more transactions. Mortgage rates dip back to the fives. So that's news. But wait, look at this headline. Mortgage rates hit the lowest level in nearly 4 years, but home buyers are still stuck on the sidelines. Is that right? Does that match your current experience? Are home buyers still stuck on the sidelines, or are you having one of the busiest times that you've ever had? Mortgage rates dropped sharply last week. While that helped prolong gains in financing, homebuyer demand seemed unimpressed. Total mortgage application volume was essentially flat, rising just 0.4%. Applications to refi increased 4%. Applications for a mortgage to purchase dropped 5%. So that doesn't really sound good, does it? Well, let's keep reading. They were 12% higher year over year. What? Yeah, that 5% drop, that was just week to week. They were still 12% higher than they were last year. So if you're feeling busier than you were last year, yeah, you're probably 12% busier. Applications to refi were 4% week to week, but were 150% higher than the same week a year ago. We're seeing some massive refinance demand compared to the previous year for the last several weeks. Scap says, I am busy doing pre-listing appraisals for homeowners. Did 20 pre-listings this month. Yeah. I can tell you, we have 30% of our total volume from last year currently pending. I'm going to say it again. We have 30% of our total pending volume from 2025 currently pending. That's crazy. Now, we had a little bit slower February. We had the ice and everything and at the end of January. So it was a little slower, but that's a gigantic increase. We're going to be around 50% further than we were last year. If all that stuff closes, knock on wood, right? Knock on wood. If all that stuff closes in March, this directed to close in March, we're going to be about 50% further along in the year than we were last year at this time. So this article does not match my current lived experience. What I think it does, though, mortgage rates are hitting the lowest level. Year over year, it's up 12%. I think there's more people that have been waiting that are now contacting us and are getting all their ducks in a row. And that's what I'm seeing, is that, yeah, we have a lot pending right now, but we have a lot more in the wings. There's like 4 or 5 listings that we have that are coming up. Just my little team. So This does not match what I'm currently experiencing. So if you're out there and you're thinking about buying and selling, you really do want to jump into the buy side before rates get crazy low, because then the prices are just going to go up and stay up. Right now, prices are up a little bit. That's fine. But you don't want to wait too long, because if you wait too long, you're going to miss the opportunity, and then you're going to be paying more for the property than you would have, even if you have a lower rate, because you're going to have to outbid somebody. We got into a multiple offer situation this weekend too, on a house that had been on the market for 3 weeks. Suddenly multiple offers. It's crazy. All right, guys. Well, if you missed the show, rewind. Go back to the beginning where we talk about all the ads for NAR. I want to hear your opinion on these ads. Are they good ads, bad ads? And you could drop it in the comments, or you can follow me on Instagram, Ray Zorback, RAYZORBACK. I'm going to take your comments to NAR. And when they ask me, Ray, what do you think of the ads? I'm going to tell them what I think, and then I'm going to tell them what you think. So don't be shy. I'm not going to say by name. Now you could just go look at the YouTube video and see, but I'd be happy to share your feedback with NAR. But what I'm hearing so far is there's no overwhelming disdain. There's little opinions here and there about what could be made good or better. But overall, what I'm hearing is it's a good ad campaign. So if you agree with that, drop it in the comments. If you disagree with that, especially drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think. And if you think this is worse than an ad they've done in the past, share a link to an ad that they've done that is better. What do you think is better than what they're currently doing? I want to know. Matt says
there's always room for improvement, I believe.
Matt says, say a Porsche driving realtor in Atlanta that isn't Glenda Baker. Yeah, who could that be? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it Porsche or Porsche?
It's 2 syllables if you ask the Germans.
So it's Porsche?
It is Porsche.
That sounds dumb.
Yeah.
So I should say a Porsche driving realtor.
If you're in front of a German NAR member, they're going to be very upset with you.
Misha, where's Misha Thompson? Is he listening? Misha, chime in. He's literally a German NAR member.
No, there's always room for improvement though, right? Like we can always make these things better. And I think now with the day and age that we're in, like YouTube TV, Netflix, like all these things have ads and no one's paying for the ad-free versions anymore because, you know, we have 50,000 subscriptions, which is like having 50,000 channels.
Yep.
Except now we pay for all of them.
It does not make sense. It was a bad move, and it was one that everyone was like, oh, sweet, now I get to just subscribe to ESPN. I don't have to get all those other channels. And then, but then you realize I'm actually watching all those other channels. And you realize that whenever they went away, and then you subscribe to Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN. You're like, okay, well, that covers some of them. And then you're like, oh, I can't watch this game because it's on Fox. Now I have to subscribe to Fox streaming. And I can't watch this game because it's on, I don't know. It's getting ridiculous.
Braves,
It's getting ridiculous.
Well, the Braves just announced, I think yesterday or maybe Monday, Braves Vision is coming, and now we got to pay for that if we want to watch Braves game. Which, by the way, Braves are like the Southeast team. They're not just like, you know, Atlanta's team. Like people in South Carolina cheer for the Atlanta Braves. People in North Carolina cheer for the Atlanta Braves because TBS back in the day did a great job of like blowing it up, you know. But yeah, Braves Vision. Now I got to go pay for that. I'm going to figure it out. Like, I think it's probably cheaper for me to go to the game than it is to actually watch the games on television. With all the little blackout dates and, it's not on this platform today. It's on that one.
Yeah, I can't stand that stuff, man. I want to go back to cable where everything is on there, please.
Seriously. We need a mass consolidation. That's for sure.
100%.
For sure.
Well, that's all I got, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for the comments. Don't forget to drop them. Drop your comments. If you're listening to the podcast version, please go watch the video version of this one. And I would appreciate it if you would share it. Please share the show with someone that you think might benefit from it. And I will not see y'all next week. I might do a special like post-meeting recap on Thursday or something, if I can pull that off. But for those of you in Chicago, please let me know if you're in the Chicago area. I'd love to meet up with y'all and see y'all while I'm there. And I will, I'll for sure see you in 2 weeks. But stay tuned to the Instagram, Ray Zorback, RAYZORBACK, and see what I post there about next week. It should be real interesting. Bye, everybody.